Welcome back to another episode of Bad Lit Friends, the podcast that barely knows what it's doing still. I'm your host, Kirk Rafferty, and this is my co-host.
Hi, I'm Meagan Thompson-Mann. And this week we are on episode 18. And
Hoorah!
hoorah, and just an apology for the late delivery of episode 17. Mr. Rafferty here has been a little under the weather, but he
Yes.
is back and raring to go. So thank goodness for the miracle of modern medicine and bed rest.
Yeah, let me tell you so I have a controversial opinion here.
Oh,
Being sick sucks.
no way.
Yeah. Yeah. Just so you know. In case anybody, wanted to try it, it's no bueno.
Not recommend, especially at holiday time. It was Thanksgiving here in America, and while I was eating turkey and ham and cranberry jalapeno relish,
I was vomiting it all up. Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah. So
Happy holidays.
I'm gonna leave you with that image, that Thanksgiving image.
But this week we are going to be talking about alpha and beta readers, kind of a bookend to the last episode about critique partners and writing groups. But before we get into that, why don't we catch up on where we are with our writing right now?
Yeah, sure. So last episode, I said I was in the wilderness. I wasn't sure what I was writing next. I was looking for ideas. I have got a pretty solid idea that I am just now. Actually, I just wrote a very rough synopsis for, and I'm loving this idea. I think it's going to stick. I think it's going to go somewhere. So I am cautiously optimistic that I can turn this into something. I'm also very excited about it now, but yeah.
Kirk has shared this topic with me, and I am not allowed to divulge this state secret, but I am also very excited about this idea. And, apologies for the vague casting about it, but it's super cool. And yeah, I can't wait to see it make its way into the world eventually.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be good. What are you working on?
I am back in book 2 after a 2.5 month break, and I am really loving being back with these people. It was a little strange kind of going back into their world. I read what I'd written so far in the book. And now all of the consequences of an extremely bad decision are about to start raining down on the main character.
Ooh,
So,
or
yes.
as they say in Save the Cat, fun and games.
Fun and well, there's definitely somebody's having fun. It's not her. There are a lot of games. So I'm glad to be back there. I have made one query so far on the book
I was
1.
just about to ask, if you're back in the query trenches.
I am back, but I am also aware of the advice that the holidays are not a super duper time to query.
Yeah.
I
Can I give you
am
my take on that?
Yeah, sure.
So, my take is I would go ahead and query during the holidays. It's not like agents are discarding everything they got in between Thanksgiving, American Thanksgiving, and New Year's.
Mhm.
They're not. I mean, it's still in their inboxes. And if there was an agent that did something like that, well, then you've just dodged a bullet, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So here's how I would reframe that. Don't expect responses during the holidays, but I think that they will eventually get to you. So that's my hot take on that.
Well, you know that I forget that I query people, so it
That's what
won't bother
spreadsheets
me.
are for.
I haven't opened my spreadsheet in a while, but yeah, okay, then I will get back in the saddle. Also, because it's slower, it's a time to take my time and add some new names to the list of agents to query. But yeah, I let my mom read my book, which was bold,
Yeah.
which is a bold choice. And she said that my book was the shit, which was very nice. Thank you, mother, friend of the pod.
Oh, that is very nice. I
Yes,
knew she
yes.
would say that. I knew that. Okay, now my offer is still open if she wants to read mine.
Yes, yes. Mom, if you're listening, Kirk will let you read his book. Share it. So this episode we are going to be talking about alpha and beta readers. what they are, when you need to get one or two or more, and like last week, how to find them. They are different from writing groups and critique partners, which we talked about in the last episode. And why do you want to get alpha and beta readers? And it's because you want feedback before you either query or you put this baby out into the universe on your own with a little help from your friends.
Mhm.
So, why don't we talk a little bit about what alpha and beta readers are? And yeah, so do you want to talk about alphas?
Yeah, so, the difference between an alpha reader and a beta reader is just how far along in the book you are, really. So an alpha reader is going to take a more a rougher version of your book. So, you've written the first draft, you've done some polishing on it, but it's not 100% there yet. And the idea behind it then is you want to get it into somebody's hands so that you don't waste a lot of time polishing something that if you get back from an alpha reader, you go, "Oh, yeah." Uh, their eyes change colors halfway through or, then there's probably bigger things than that, wow, it started out like a roller coaster and I'm about, halfway through and it's really starting to drag, right in these chapters.
Hmm.
So, those are easier fixes earlier on than later on. Then obviously your beta readers should come when you have polished that book to the best of your ability. Like you think that this is pretty close to publishing ready is when you want to get into beta readers' hands.
So, alphas, my experience is that I mean, I had alphas who were reading multiple drafts of my book. And they're the ones who caught things like, what happened to this guy? Like, you talked a lot about him, and then, huh?
When a character disappears up into the attic and they never reappear again, a la Happy Days.
I forgot about that. Yeah, it was it can feel daunting when you get that kind of feedback. You're like, "But how do I resolve this? I've gotta bring this person back." Like, "Oh, no, I'm a resurrection artist." But as you get more as you work more on your craft, you start understanding how you can resolve things fairly economically. It's amazing how little work you need to do to solve what can be a big plot hole. But yeah, you wanna hear these early on, as you said. So you're looking for plot holes. You're looking for inconsistent characters, pacing problems. I had some character issues that unfortunately I didn't kinda catch until I had already, like, given it to betas and, like, the earlier version of book 1.
Mhm.
And you know, there was a character who was too good to be true, and I should have listened more to other people saying, "Why is he kind of rolling over here?" "Well, that's just who he is." I'm like, but, that's who he is, but that makes him boring." Right?
Mhm.
So listen to what people have to say about your characters as much as your world building. You're looking ultimately for what's working for people. So you're looking for early feedback. You're also looking for people who are either writers themselves, probably, or people who really understand story structure and are likely to be people who are in your genre. That's my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, that's about it. So I will just say that I have never actually had an alpha reader.
Mm,
And I say that because it may be hard to find alpha readers. It's harder to find an alpha reader than a beta reader because, like you say, you want your alpha readers to ideally be writers, but at least understand story structure, be able to call you out where you're kind of, violating those structures or where you could improve them. So alpha readers are going to be a little bit harder. They're going to be a lot a bit harder in my experience. Beta readers, you want more of a reader. So you're you're fairly confident at this point that your story structure is good. You hope it's good anyway, because
yeah.
a beta reader might actually say, "I got a little bit bored in the middle," and then that means something to you, right?
So you're probably only talking about 1 or 2 people. As you said, they can be hard to find. Beta readers, you can cast the net wider, maybe not the 10 beta readers, the how many beta readers was she saying that you needed to have the other week? But, as
It's already left my mind, I've already forgotten.
50 beta readers, do them in chunks of 10, and, you're looking for stuff that those people are gonna be looking for stuff that's confusing, things, as you said, that are boring. Somebody who is reading as a reader and not necessarily as a writer, although they could be writers too. So the ideal times to use these poor souls who have agreed to help you out, when do you think is the best time to reach out to an alpha reader or start looking for alpha readers?
So definitely after you have a first draft, but I think that you probably want to have worked on it a little past your first draft is, like actual experts probably have a number. I don't know. This all just comes out of my gut. But past the first draft, because your first draft is going to be really rough and probably unreadable to anybody but you.
What? I shouldn't have just given out my 144,000 word first
Yes, your
draft?
144,000 word novel that
Yeah.
does not fit in a specific genre because
No.
you're
No.
above genre.
I float above it all. I am a wordsmith. So
I think you'll feel it. God, this sounds terrible. I think you'll feel it when you're ready for an alpha. When the writer is ready, the alpha reader will appear.
ooh.
So, you pass your first draft, you've done some polishing, you've gone in, you've been fixing grammar, you've been fixing, the wordy things. I don't even know where I've left off at this
I love
point.
those wordy things. No, we use them quite a lot, actually.
Uh, so pass your first draft, but it's not your polished draft, right?
Yeah.
You're just getting it you you've got it in a at a point where you think that the structures are in place. And then, let it go.
Yeah, like you've got a plot.
You've got a plot, you've got characters, you've got it broken down into however you're structuring it, 3-act structure, whatever. And that at that point, if you're feeling kinda good about it, yeah, ship it off to an alpha reader.
It is such a brave act, I wanna point out. Like, shipping this off to alpha and beta readers, it's like, ugh. We were talking the other week about the ugly baby contest, and I can feel like, here's my ugly baby. How ugly
Yeah,
is it?
for sure,
Marks
right?
out of 10. It can feel terrifying, and it can feel like, standing in front of, and it oftentimes is a friend, writer friend, and saying, "Here I am. I've taken off all of my clothes. Look at my body. What do you think?" And they
And
go,
judge me.
"Judge me." And they're like, "What do you think?" And they go, "Well, that shoulder looks nice, but ooh, your navel." And you're like, "I love my navel."
Man,
It
I'm not even touching this analogy. I'm just gonna sit back and wait until it's over.
it's pretty much over now.
Okay.
But it can make you feel very vulnerable, and that's okay and that's normal. You're not the only one. Conversely, if you are a person who's like, "Yeah, I wanna get it out," I mean, more power to you. I do not
Yep.
understand this.
Yeah,
That's
there are
okay.
psychopaths out there too. Yeah.
Yep, bless their hearts. The world needs a lot of different types. I'm not one of those. But one of the things that having used alphas, and I kinda use them the wrong way. I've done a lot of stuff the wrong ways. I had alphas reading my book in chunks as I produced, chapters. So somewhere in between, like, a, critique partner and an alpha reader, but not really critique partners, like, it was closer to an alpha experience because they were reading, like, 5, 6, 7 chapters at a time, and I found it very useful because it allowed me to see when I was starting to get off track. I gave them a general idea of what the plot was supposed to be, and I would say, "How am I doing? Am I getting
Mhm.
there?" And it was useful to kinda whack me back in line. I got feedback like, "Great chapter, Megs, but that one was for you."
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, that okay," just put it back in the vault.
Well, you mentioned you gave it out in chunks. I did the same thing, although I wasn't writing as I was sending out to beta readers. So I had the draft ready and I signed up my beta readers and I gave it to them in chunks at a time.
Mhm.
And then for each chunk, I asked for feedback. I don't remember the questions I had on there. There's a ton of templates out there for beta readers. Use what works for you. What I would say is, and I think we're gonna talk about expectations a little
Yeah.
later, but,
Yeah, we are.
I'll just get it out here right now. What I would say is don't make this a job for your beta reader. Like, right? So, if you're gonna have a questionnaire, make sure it's something that they can fill out early.
And for alphas, I mean, the kind of things you wanna be asking are like, does this make any sense? Are there where are the big holes? Are there any big where are the little holes? Not like the little holes, but,
Yeah.
you know, where do you see things going off the rails? Where's the pacing being weird? Are you bored? What makes you excited?
Mhm, mhm.
What's working well? What sucks? And some sort of basic, 20,000 feet high, look down on, what do you think about my characters? What do you think about my dialogue? What do you think about my world building? And you're not asking for someone to do any line editing or do you think that this is going to be a hit or anything like that. You want to make sure that your book is working as a book, and
Yep, yep.
if not book, why book shaped?
Mhm,
But one other thing that I did do was I set up a Discord channel for some of my alphas, and kind of I called it betas, they really were alphas. And I was putting up chapters, links to Google Docs. As I revised each chapter, I would put up a link and be like, read it and give me some feedback so that I could hear stuff back. And it
mhm.
it worked for a while and then everybody forgot about it. But then what I started doing was just handing out paper copies when I saw people, and I was like,
Wow.
"Yeah,
Old school.
yeah, old school." But they liked it. Really liked being able
Sure.
to read it that way, and, the excitement, and, what how amazing is it to show up in person and give someone a hard copy of your words and their reaction is to squeal in delight. It makes you feel like, "Yeah, maybe I can do this." Don't worry, you'll go
Yeah.
home and you'll hate yourself right afterwards. It's okay, but you allow yourself to feel that flash of delight for a moment. It'll go away soon enough. So I mean, I've liked using alphas. I almost certainly will do this again for book 2, and my critique partners, my writing group, they're seeing, book 2 as it's coming about, but as we talked about last week, very different kettle of fish. Betas. Yeah, that this is the bigger fish of the 2. You've used betas. I am starting to use betas. I will preface all of this by telling my beta story from today, which is that our wonderful former producer, Rylan, and also former co-host of this show, I gave her a
Friend of the
copy.
show.
Friend of the show, super friend of the show. If you've noticed a fall off in production quality, it's because we no longer have the sainted Rylan with us. We're doing it live ourselves. And I gave her a copy of my book and I got feedback from her and promptly forgot to. So she sent me feedback in 2 places, as it turns out, both in email, which I promptly forgot to reply to because my mom was here. Yes, mom, I am blaming you. And number 2, she sent me more feedback via WhatsApp, and I turned off all of my WhatsApp notifications for at least a week and just found out that she'd sent me feedback. And I got to say, I am super embarrassed because I am an old person and I forget stuff. So don't do
Yeah,
that.
Rylan holds grudges. You're like her mortal enemy now, probably.
No. Oh,
That's not
no.
true. That's not
Oh,
true
okay.
at
Okay.
all.
Okay, good. Good, good, good. So don't do that. Don't do what I did. Don't ghost your betas. Your betas are beautiful, precious people. And I do have it out currently with Laura B, who listens to us and has promised me
Also friend
feedback.
of the show.
Also a friend of the show, and she's gonna get me feedback by Christmas. I'm very excited about this, and I have it out with a couple of the people who were alphas, right now too. Mom, I love you and I love your feedback, and I'm not counting you as one of my betas. You are my mother, and your feedback is the most important of all. Thank
Of
you.
course.
Yes. So, what is the best time to get your book-shaped object to beta readers, in your opinion?
Yeah, I touched on that a little bit earlier. So it is when you have written the best novel that you can write. You've basically you've come to the end, right? Like this thing, if you're going the trad pub route, um, it's it's damn near ready for querying. When you hand a book off to a beta reader, you want them to read it like a novel. You want you want them to read it like they went to Barnes and Noble, they picked it off a shelf and they brought it home and now they're reading it. So that's where you want to be with that. And then obviously you're going to expect them to catch things in it because it doesn't matter how well you write your book unless you are like that one in a million author who can just crank out a book and there's there's nothing left to do to it. Your book is gonna need editing, and so that's what you want your beta readers for, and so you're gonna collect all that back, and you're gonna go through their feedback, and you're gonna see if you can see patterns. The time for beta readers is, not when you're super excited because you finally powered through that first draft. The time for beta readers is when you have sweat blood over this thing, and it's just you're at the point where, like, this thing cannot be any better with you in isolation.
When my book turns out to be 410,000 words, I shouldn't be, giving that out to my betas. I mean, come on, God, you're such a buzzkill.
Let me tell
So
you, if somebody asks me to beta read a 410,000 word novel, like, I'm gonna say, I have one piece of feedback for you, and I don't even need to read it.
yeah. So I think, you want to make sure that this is a book that, as you said, works as a book, right? Is it ready or ready enough, as ready as it's ever going to get, right?
Mhm.
And, some of the questions you might have are similar to what you might ask alpha readers, like, is there anywhere you're bored? Is there anywhere you were confused? What did you like? What did you not like? Again, like plot holes, but you're looking for the reader's experience. Like the reader, as you say, in Barnes and Noble, just picking it off a shelf. What would that reader think about this book, right?
Mhm.
Does it work as a book as opposed to your writer friends who are like, this is where you've got some craft issues potentially. So, and also, you might be, if you're working in genre fiction, you might find that the feedback you get from readers who read a lot in your genre may be more useful to you than general readers or readers outside of your genre.
Sure, sure.
So what you're looking for is patterns, as you said earlier. If one person says there's a problem here, it might just be a matter of taste. Um, if you get multiple people saying I just cannot connect with this character, this, subplot, this setting, then you've got a problem, and that's okay. It's okay to have problems. What's good is understanding where the problems are as opposed to
Mhm.
this isn't working, which is like that's like really vague feedback where you're like, "Well, what am I supposed to do with it?" Where isn't it working? Because you need actionable feedback. Otherwise, it's just like, "I liked it. I didn't like it." And you're like, "Oh, thanks. Thank you again for reading my book. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But, what am I gonna do with this? The fact that you didn't like it."
It's also important to know when to take that feedback and when not to take that feedback. And that's probably the hardest part of beta reading. Well, the hardest part is reading the feedback because some of it will gut you, right?
Mhm.
So some beta readers will you have like you've maybe got some kind of like cool little twist and the beta reader will say I saw that on page 1 or they'll say, I just didn't fall in love with your main character, and so some of these things will gut you. But the other hard part is just being able to sift the proverbial wheat from the chaff, right?
Mhm.
So if you've got 10 beta readers, good for you. If you've got 10 beta readers and they all tell you that your main character is unlikable, like that's a problem. There's no two ways about it. If on the
Yeah.
other hand, you've got one of your 10 beta readers saying they don't like your main character and the other ones are raving about it or just don't mention it at all, it might be an outlier. You have to kinda take the outliers and decide if this person really is an outlier or they're extremely insightful and nobody else caught it.
Yeah. Yeah, and that requires a level of fluency with your own work. where you're reading it like a reader and not just as, the creator. And that's where distance comes in handy. If you are doing this as soon as you pump out, your first draft or even like second or third potentially, you might be just too close to it. You need a little bit of breathing room or it does get personal. It can hurt. And that's okay. Like, it's okay to, like, feel the sting of it, like, "Oh, my ugly baby. Why don't you love my ugly baby? It's so cute. It makes all these cute little
The first
noises."
step is admitting your baby is ugly.
Yeah, you do need to admit your baby is very ugly. That's okay. Like, your baby has some good points too. But
Conversely, you can pick up some real gems from beta readers. So I have this situation in my first novel. Two kids living on a ranch in western Texas. It's 1961. They're living out there by themselves. The way that they make money is they go into town, they sell the milk from their dairy cows. They live in poverty, and my main character um, goes shopping and wants to buy condensed milk for because she wants to make her brother a pie, and she just doesn't have the money for it. There are certain staples they need to buy. She doesn't have the money for the condensed milk, and she feels bad about it. One of my beta readers pointed out they live on a ranch with cows that make milk. Do you know how easy it is to make your own condensed milk? And I was like, of course they would know this. So you get gems like that.
that God, how humiliated were you, in that moment?
Oh, yeah, I mean, it was funnier than anything else. It was so funny. But yes, it's humiliating.
So much of this is humiliating. So, yeah, if that's fantastic. It's amazing even combing through your own work, just the clangers that you discover when you're going through and you're like, I don't think I was high when I wrote that, but I'm not sure anybody else will believe that I wasn't. But yeah, because if one person sees it, another person is going to see it too. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it is when I was finishing up the revisions on book 1, I had been avoiding so many problems and just going, maybe no one will notice," but I'm thinking, "If I notice, if I, the mother of this ugly baby, can say this baby is ugly, every everybody else is gonna say it's hideous." So yeah, I mean, these are opportunities. They're not just, humiliation inflection points. They're also opportunities to make things work because ultimately isn't that what we're trying to do? Probably. So
Yeah, exactly.
multiple sets of eyeballs are really helpful even though it can feel like, peeling your skin back.
Mhm.
And you need to get past it. This is the thing I keep telling myself. It's like you just got to get past it. Get past the embarrassment of showing it all off because guess what? You're probably trying to get other people to read your book. So, just tear the
Gotta
band-aid
start
off.
somewhere, right? Yeah.
You gotta start somewhere, and, as the feedback comes in, you are probably going to start having a thicker skin about it, hopefully. No promises. This is not a contractual obligation that we have entered into with any of our listeners. I'm not promising anything. You may hurt. I still hurt. In terms of finding your alpha and beta readers, how did you find the people that you were
Yeah, I did one of the dumbest things imaginable. I posted on Facebook. I just posted, "Hey everyone, I wrote a book. Would you like to read it and give me feedback?" It's not something well, so I do actually have like a core of beta readers now that I did get from that initial Facebook post. The problem is that, like your friends and family are on it, right? So of course, like one of my aunts was like, "Of course I want to read your book." And I mean, that feels really good too. I was extremely flattered. She loved my book. She gushed about my book. She couldn't believe how good it was. As a beta reader, that's not really useful. From your aunt, it's wonderful. It makes you feel good. By all means, let your aunt read your book. Cuz that's, it
You
makes you
deserve
feel good.
honestly, you deserve it. I mean, it doesn't
Yeah.
all have to be pain.
So what I got was got a mishmash of different people. I got family in there. And I will tell you this, one family member is probably the best beta reader I've ever had. She really took her time and really just like nailed me to the wall and some stuff. She's like, I don't care if you're family. Like I'm just gonna go to town. So that was great. So, it wasn't so dumb in the end. I don't know. If you are so inclined, try it, I guess. Well, in hindsight, it's not a route I would go, but I actually am glad that I did it. I wound up
Yeah.
with some good beta readers doing that. It's probably not the recommended.
Yeah, I mean, mine came out of friends,
Mhm.
my writing group.
Yeah, I was gonna say you had a fairly established writing group
Yeah,
anyway, so
yeah.
yeah.
And also one of my beta readers is a listener of the show,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
which is fantastic.
yeah.
Somebody who
Shout out to
has
Laura again.
Laura, thank you, really from the bottom of my heart, to have somebody who has not seen this book from its very beginnings as,
Yeah.
just an exercise, a writing exercise I was doing. But, last week we were talking about Discord being great if you can figure out a channel where people are doing it. And again, Reddit is a great place to find out about various Discords.
Mhm.
And, Facebook, as you said, Blue Sky, people are looking, for beta. I see it all the time, like, "I'm looking for beta." If you are in the Right Sky writing community hashtags on Blue Sky, you will find people, who are looking
Mhm.
looking for betas, and, I'll touch on that in a moment. And again, like we talked about last week, writing forums, conferences, meetup groups, and also people who read in your genre that you know. So it doesn't have to be friends, it could be like your friend's boyfriend or something like that, or, I know, "Oh, I have a friend." Your friend will tell you that they have a friend who reads a lot in your genre. I think that you're gonna get different flavors the further away from the connection, and that's why I kinda want more people who aren't, like my friends or my family, to read this because, I know myself. I can browbeat people into liking me. So
I'll mention another outlet that's a little controversial, and that's Fiverr. So, on Fiverr, man, the quality is so mixed, and from what I understand now, like, AI is just rampant on Fiverr these days. So, I would say if you go with Fiverr, to be super cautious and explain, very upfront what your stance on the usage of AI is. And the downside is, you will probably pay $100 for a beta reader, for one beta reader, right? And I don't know, that's not great value. But if you are stuck, you're just not finding beta readers, that's a perhaps an avenue. And the only reason I'm going to mention this is that for my first book, before I posted on Facebook, I thought I'd get advice from a couple beta readers, and so I did hire a couple Fiverr beta readers. One of them was just garbage, was just not helpful at all. The other one gave me such amazing and helpful feedback that I actually used her again on my most recent novel, where she once again gave me just phenomenal feedback. And you know what I might do? I might put her Fiverr link
yeah,
into the show notes.
yeah,
That's how good I felt about it. It's so I throw Fiverr out there.
mhm,
Man, it's buyer beware with Fiverr.
yeah.
You're treading through a minefield there, but
You could be like the woman I saw on Instagram or Threads this past week who was charging people to be her betas, which I thought, "Wow, okay." Like
yeah.
like,
You
sure.
had to, like, be a Substack
You had to
subscriber,
subscribe to
right? Yeah.
her yeah, Patreon or Substack or something like that, and there were 2 different levels of subscription. I mean, like, I guess some people are paying her money to do it, so, hell, c c
It's good
y
work if you can get it.
absolutely. Absolutely. I was just that is bold. Maybe don't start there. Maybe go the old-fashioned route.
Yeah, if you go out and start a Substack specifically to get beta readers to pay you, let me know how that works out for you, please.
So so one of the other things that you see often with betas is, oftentimes you offer to beta read in return. for the services that they are offering you for free or that you're charging them $8 a month to do. So, um, it's a question for you, like, is that something that you feel that you have the bandwidth to do, right? So you may be able to do it, you may not. You wanna be upfront with people about what your capacity for returning the favor is going to be.
Yes.
It could be like, I can only do a couple of chapters, or I need X number of months to do this, and the other person will be able to tell whether or not that works for them. Um, you know, I'm pretty flexible with people. I don't need the feedback right away. I have a lot of stuff to do during the week, so it is fine that I'm not getting feedback back in like 48 hours. So it's cool. But other people may have very different expectations. So just be like super upfront and clear with people about what you want them to do, and then they should hopefully also be clear with you about what they can give you.
Yeah, and I'll give you a an example of a bad beta reader, and that's me. I had been asking for some beta readers, and somebody graciously accepted, and he said, "Hey, I've got this book that I'm querying. Would you be willing to beta read it in return?" And I said, "Yes, of course I would." And then, of course, I immediately got incredibly busy, and so I think he took a month to read mine, and I took, like, 4 months, I think. I felt really bad about it, and so what I really I should have just declined graciously, I didn't. Having said that, I really enjoyed the book. I actually like, it was a really good read. I have no doubt he's gonna land that book with an agent, but, I was a bad beta reader.
That the
I just slapped my hand.
Yeah, how was your time in beta reader jail? I mean, is it
That's the great thing about being a bad beta reader, there's no accountability.
what? I thought at least it would be a minimum security prison.
No, it's no, there's nothing.
Damn it, damn it, damn it. So, you're also gonna wanna make sure that you ask questions of your beta readers. You might do it with a questionnaire. I set one up. I ended up not using it, but if I wanna get more betas, I probably will. I used just Google Forms to do it, but
Mhm,
you wanna find out some basic things like, does your reader read your genre? That's kind of a big one because people are gonna have different genre expectations, period. That's just it. You wanna find out, like, what kind of feedback they're going to provide you, like detailed feedback, like inline feedback, or is it gonna be, kinda high level? You wanna know if they've done any beta reading before. That doesn't necessarily make them a good beta reader, but it might
mhm,
they'll know
mm.
what to expect. You also probably wanna give them any content warnings about your book, so that they know about
Really
it.
important,
Really,
really
really
important, yeah.
important. Some genres are, gonna have more than others. So
I had a great beta reader for my first novel, and for my second novel, I had different trigger warnings, and she said, "Yeah, I just can't do that, I'm sorry." And so I'm really glad that I included that because she was actually kinda bummed, but she said, "I just can't go."
yeah, it's only fair to both of you to make it clear. This is yeah, Kirk and I are old enough, let's say.
I was gonna say, speak for yourself.
Yeah, my knees still work. But back in the old days, most books did not come with any sort of content warnings. You'd be halfway through a book and something would just jump out of you at you like skeleton
I'd
from
have
a closet, and you're
never
like, "Oh,
I'd have never read Watership Down had I actually known.
oh, oh!"
That's not true, I still
Water
would've read it.
Watership Down is like one of those bleeding, still oozing wounds for our generation. I don't think that I had really felt pain until I heard Art Garfunkel's dulcet tones singing Bright Eyes. Um,
What?
and I still think about it and begin weeping. Yeah. Now I'm gonna go down that hole. This is not a good place to go. I'll end up listening to Art Garfunkel, which is probably not a good idea. So other things is you wanna find out from your beta readers, your alpha readers too. Do they have a format preference? Do they want it in Word? Do they want it in PDF? Do they want an EPUB? Do they want Google Docs? I have done all of I've made all of these available so that I have files just to send out, like, boom, 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 and a link for a Google Doc. And you should give a deadline if you have a deadline, and you should also if you have a way that you wanna receive feedback, make it clear.
Mhm.
I mean, this is just a dialogue. This sounds like, "Oh, it has to be this way and that way." It isn't. You're opening up a dialogue with your reader, and there can be negotiation. It's not like, "Ugh, my way or the highway." And if you don't like what the other person is offering, that's okay. You don't have to take everybody. It's
Yeah.
it's okay.
Unless you're actually paying for them, you're kind of beholden to your beta reader, right?
Yeah.
They're doing you a huge solid.
Yeah. Oh,
So
yeah.
be nice. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah,
Be accommodating.
make them a cake with condensed milk
Yes.
or a
Yes.
pie. Yes.
From the cows that
From
you have on
the
your own ranch.
cows and the sugar that you probably have in your cabinet.
Yeah.
You can do it. So, one thing, just really briefly, kind of red flags. So, these are less red flags about, like, this person is garbage, but more like, I don't know if this feedback is actually going to be useful. If you get feedback like, "I liked it," "I hated it," or if these people like Anne was talking about last week, people who are mean-spirited and
Mhm.
incredibly
Mhm.
rude,
Mhm.
you as we said, maybe it's your kink, I don't know, but, like, you don't need to listen to those people. And maybe they have something in there that's useful, but look, you don't need to do it. Also, people who ghost you, it's probably gonna happen. "Look, I ghosted my beta." Ugh, and God, I suck. This has been established many
Yeah.
times. But also, you wanna look out for people who are trying to rewrite your book. You're not looking for a very heavy-handed developmental editor. You are looking for someone to give you feedback. That's it. So,
Your fantasy would be such a good science fiction novel. Have you considered doing that?
yeah, have you considered that instead of a female main character, you
Yes.
might have a male main character?
Or a rabbit. I'm just saying, what if everybody was rabbits?
And they were living in a society at war, with other rabbits, and Art Garfunkel was singing.
It always comes back to Watership Down.
So and one thing you should absolutely ask for when you are sending out your ugly baby is you should ask your readers to please respect your confidentiality. That is like, please don't share it with other people without your permission, not putting it out there. Hey, I just read this great book. I'm gonna go put it on a link to it on Twitter. I'll go feed it into ChatGPT or Grok. Like just make sure that you get people to respect you as an artist. You are an artist and get people to respect it. This is your intellectual property and you're the person who gets to control what's done with it. And people who are good, competent readers are going to not have any problem with that whatsoever.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
don't be ashamed to ask it. It's all good. So, and then ultimately at the end of the day, you are asking for feedback, right? So, don't do what I do and make sure that you actually acknowledge that it comes in and you should thank your readers and, don't argue with them. If you don't like it, you can just go, "Thank you very much for your constructive feedback. I found it very useful." And then, just kind of put it to one side.
Yes.
But do ask follow-up clarifying questions. If you are a little confused or you feel like, "Oh, I feel like there's something there and I just need to kind of pull it at," like, you might find some other threads and they may have, some more thoughts for you. So,
For sure.
yeah. And, as we said before, look, if multiple people are saying that there are problems, you probably have a problem. And remember, you do not have to make all the changes that are suggested to you. It is ultimately reading and writing is a subjective practice and undertaking. So, not every book is for every reader. Not every piece of art is for every viewer. That's just how it is. And it's fine. It's all good. So, and be proud of yourself that you did something that was so humiliating. It's
Well,
okay.
and you know what you find out at the end of your beta read? You find out that you actually wrote a pretty good book. That's what you're gonna find out.
Well, you haven't read my book yet. You might think it's trash. So,
Everybody so I've read your writing. In fact, I've read some sample
yes,
chapters
you have.
that
You've
you
read
gave
a
me.
couple of chapters. Yeah.
And, yeah, I have no doubt that you've written a very good book.
Thank you. Thank you.
You've also had agent feedback.
Yes, I have.
You've
Yes.
had you've had more okay, tell me how many queries you've sent out?
30-ish.
30. I sent out over 200.
Yeah.
You have already gotten back much more personalized feedback than I ever did. So I think you've written a pretty good book.
My baby is my baby's only a little ugly. So, okay, when you put your ugly baby out into the world in the, you know, Ugly Baby of the Universe contest, also known as publication, you should also thank your betas and alphas again and
Yeah.
let them
Yeah.
know that you're publishing and, ask them if they want to be acknowledged in your book.
Mhm.
I asked all of mine, like, just let me know. And I am so indebted to all of them. They're taking so much of their time to do something for free. So, wrapping it up, alphas, betas, you probably should have them. Otherwise, that 410,000 word manuscript may never make it past the auto filter at your dream agent.
Your 410,000 word book is not going to make it through the query tracker filter.
God, you're such a
Period.
pessimist. You're such a pessimist.
Yeah,
God.
I guess my final thoughts on beta readers are they're almost a necessity. They're almost a necessity. As a debut author, definitely. Um, as you write more, as you become comfortable more, maybe less so. I'm sure that, there are really experienced published authors out there, both trad pub, indie pub, self pub, who at some point just understand their craft enough that it's probably not as important to them.
Yeah.
But if you are a debut author, man, I'd say it's almost non-negotiable. It's that
Yeah.
important.
Yeah. And, if you are Margaret Atwood's beta reader, I want to talk to you. Like,
Yeah, sure. And will you read mine?
yeah. So let's do some hot goss.
Let's do it.
So I just want to kick off by talking about Willow Talks, who we talked about last episode. She was going through it after the big to do, which we discussed, and she took some time away from content creation. She got put through the ringer. Whether or not you think it was, the tenor of it was appropriate, she did understand what she did was insensitive, but the pushback was excessive, honestly. And she is back to talking about books online, and I was very glad to see that. So, but yeah.
Can I'm just gonna throw out another controversial opinion here. Social media is garbage.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It really does just blow things, like, so far out of proportion, and you could fairly say that, maybe we are part of the problem because we talked about it in our last episode, but I feel like, we talked about it with nuance, right?
Mhm.
Whereas social media, there's just no nuance, and
No,
so
and in
it's
in
awful, and I hate that she had to step away from it.
I do too. I mean, it in a podcast, you have more than 240 characters, 300 characters, whatever,
Mhm,
and you can have some shading to go along with your shade, right?
mhm.
So it's like, okay, she did something that was not right. She made an overgeneralization that was offensive to any number of people, but at the same time, there were some elements of her critique that may have been not off the mark, but those got completely missed because it's social media. And
Yeah, yeah.
social media, as you say, doesn't do nuance. And I was talking to you before we started recording about why do I even open up threads? It's like an outrage machine every time I open it up. And, the thing that was getting me really bothered today was people complaining on both sides of this topic, which was, oh, I can't believe that you read, X number of books this year. That's an unbelievable amount of books. It doesn't seem sustainable to. I can't believe that you think that I could read like this number of books, and why does anybody care how many books anybody else reads in a year? Like, this is the thing. I was like, why are all of these people fighting about it? Who cares? I don't care. I don't care if you read one book or like 250 books in a year. I don't care.
I have a
That's
very
your
fixed number.
journey.
You need to read 73 books a year,
Sorry. It
no
didn't
more,
happen to me.
no less,
Yeah.
or you're dead to me.
Yeah. It's like, I don't why do we care? Why do we care? The algorithm is trying to make us care. I say no to the algorithm. I don't care. And the whole point of social media is to get us engaged and caring about what other people's business is. I don't care.
Can I ask you a question? When was the last time somebody legitimately asked you how many books you read last year?
Maybe like high school?
Yeah, nobody cares.
Nobody
Nobody
cares.
cares.
Nobody I don't even know if the people who are asking on the internet care. They just wanna feed the outrage machine,
Mhm.
and look, Threads is awful, but it's also the place I go when I wanna get really bad takes, like this one, which was this is my favorite, and shout out again to Laura B. for flagging this, although Kirk and I had already started talking about it when she popped it up. If you like, please stay with me in this moment, and you may want to be sitting down. If you like third person POV in your fiction, you are a misogynist. Wow. Okay. How? Okay. So, as far as I can understand, this is how it works. And there's going to be a lot of leaping here, so maybe you want to like do some stretching. Like, okay. So this is how it works. A lot of romance novels and romantasy are currently written in first person point of view, and those are female or women coded, right? Feminine coded
Mhm.
genres. So if you don't like first person, that means it's probably because you don't like romantasy or romance. And therefore, if you don't like these things that are associated with women, you don't like women, ergo, you are a misogynist. Boom.
Yeah, that tracks.
Yeah, so this is my first comment. Call me Ishmael.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, it's I could come up with examples to refute this silliness, but I refuse to spend the brain power on it. It is such a ridiculous take on its face that I can't believe it wasn't parody. We
No, it
saw
was
the
not.
thread, we saw the thread. Like, it was the person writing this, was or at least posted as if it was a true thing and defended it in the
Yeah,
comments.
yeah, and there were so many people who were like, "Absolutely. This is fantastic. I have been
Yes.
feeling this for so long. Wow." So and it's just like, "But but but how?" And these people who had these they were so confident in saying this, like, "Yeah, this you're totally right. Third person
Yeah.
is,
Yeah.
it's the hallmark of a misogynist." And then it just oh, sorry. Oh, okay, calming down. It's like you don't even know your genre that well because the explosion of first person in romance is really recent. I mean, like, every one that I read growing up,
Yeah.
even well into my 30s, they were all third person. Bridgerton, which is like super duper, juggernaut of romance novels, all third person. Like what the hell? Like all the Georgette Heyer, like all of it. Like it's all third person. Like so
It's a take that doesn't stand up to even just the flimsiest scrutiny. It's ridiculous on its face, and, yeah, I feel bad for anybody who actually has taken that to heart. I hope they reconsider.
they need to sit with themselves for a little while, and maybe
Step away from the internet for a while.
close just close one tab, maybe. There are plenty of nice websites out there if you need to be on the internet. So many nice things, that aren't wrong.
That's not a close a tab take. That really is a stop paying your internet bill,
Wow.
throw your laptop into the dumpster, get a flip phone.
Damn.
Uh, yeah,
Yeah, actually, you're right. You're absolutely right.
go yeah, make your last internet visit Cricket, order that flip phone,
Yeah, that's right.
and then just torch the rest of
That's
it.
right, yeah, go get a jitterbug. Really, really, you might need some time away. I would like to be kind about this, or kinder, but I just can't, because this is so it's ignorance with confidence,
Yeah, yeah,
and
no.
that that way lies sadness and death. So, like, just don't do it.
I was even gonna say, it's an absolutely incredibly dumb take, "Fight me," but you know what? It's not even worth fighting.
No.
It just if you take me up on this, I'm just gonna walk away. It's a dumb take.
It is very possibly the worst take I've heard this year about books, and I have read some dumbass shit on the internet this year about books, and look, I followed all that stuff about Milo Winter earlier this year and, like, the
Mhm.
flight to Finland, and, I mean, I have seen some dumb, dumb, dumb stuff. This boom, right at the end of the year as well, thank you very much. Maybe we should think about doing a top 10 stupid shit we saw on Threads.
Oh my god.
A
Can our
year-end
brains handle
wrap-up.
that?
So, the main takeaway from this week, besides the fact that people will say anything on the internet, is that alphas and betas, you might need both. You probably need a beta. You definitely need more eyeballs on your book, on your ugly baby. And you're looking for quality of the feedback that you get over the quantity. You do not need 10 betas, probably, unless you really want to impress that particular agent. And be grateful for these people who are giving their time to do something for you, and offer to help if you can as well. Return the favor.
Yeah.
This is
Or
hard
at least
work.
state clearly that, you can't.
State clearly, say, "Look, I'm a garbage person and I only want your work."
I mean, I think it is perfectly acceptable to lay out the conditions like that. It's because some of us really do get busy, and so you just say, "I'm not in a position right now that I can return the favor. I'm sorry, but"
Yeah.
you
Yeah. Yeah, and people may be totally cool with it. So, gotta ask. So, we are going to have another interview coming up in the next week or two. We're just trying to
I'm
iron it
excited
out.
about this
I'm
one.
very
I'm
excited
excited
too.
about all of them, but
Yes.
yeah,
Yes. So,
this one's cool.
yes. So, Jessica Lunt, who is the author of the new novella, The Witch Hunter's Wife, which is an historical fiction set during the Salem witch trials, is going to come on and talk to us. She is an indie author. So, all of our pleas for indie authors to come and join us are starting to pay off. We
Yeah.
cannot wait to talk to her. I am almost done reading her book. It is available on Amazon, Kobo, all sorts of other places. It's a great read. It's a little sad. I have cried already a couple of times. So, highly recommend it. And it's either going to be next week or the week following. We're just ironing out the details, but you will see that upcoming. And in the meantime, you can find us on all the socials that are absolute hot garbage like Threads. And we are Badlit Friends everywhere. Horrible Threads, Less Horrible, Blue Sky. We are also on Instagram. We are really going to try and do some more social media stuff, even though we hate social media. But we're going to try. We'll see. And you can also find us at badlitfriends.com or reach out to us at badlitfriends@gmail.com. I will try to remember to check the email occasionally.
I know
So
we're really bad about checking the email.
we do suck. But yes. Hey, look, acknowledging you have a problem is the first step, right? Or you can
That's
just
right.
ignore it.
Well, that's the second step, yeah.
Ah, God, that's what I'm getting wrong. So until next time, thanks for listening, and we'll see you then.
Bye.